follow my page, or if you have followed my pages, I guess Facebook, Twitter, and stuff, you knew that, or you would know, I guess, that for whatever reason, the Texas Democrats have my number, one of my direct lines, and listed as Ruby, whoever Ruby is. Now, there's no way that number, that specific number, could have been mistaken for anybody else, because I've had that number forever. So either this Ruby person jotted down the number and they misread it or something like that, or mistyped it, or somebody trolled and thought it was going to be a cool little gag to give my number to the Texas Democrats, because Beto O'Rourke's campaign was texting me. 2016, you had some Bernie stuff, and as well as, and again, that Beto O'Rourke Senate campaign, more so in 2018, which I can show here, right? Because I was talking about that. I was talking about, like, dude, y'all still texting my phone as this Ruby. Like, what in the world is going on? Like, I was like, these guys don't get enough. They kept texting me, asking me about who I'm voting for and so forth. And this time it was the Bernie campaign. So troll job or Ruby, whoever, there's a special place for people like you. Giving them my number. But they won't stop texting me. This one. Hi, Ruby. It's Betsy with Bernie 2020. Bernie is committed to creating a government and an economy that works for all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. Are you in for Bernie? Says Betsy. I say, I am not, Ruby. I'm not in at all for Bernie. There's no such thing as a government for all of us. Imagine if y'all put the money towards raising, or put the money you're raising towards helping others instead of wasting it on a crooks campaign. They kept texting me, by the way, and they said, okay, first, I mean, this is in direct response. I actually took a screenshot right here. They said, okay, I understand. Do you mind telling me who you plan on supporting? I said, nobody. And then the person says, would you mind if I asked why? With so much at stake in this election, we really need everyone to participate in a democratic process. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I said, because that consists of time and wasted resources that could be used to better our own lives. Instead, the democratic process, and I use that in quote, is the God that failed, especially for someone such as Bernie, who just wants to use the state to force people to fund his whimsical ideals. Now, I wanted to do the video not to simply make fun of them, but I wanted to expand on this part right here. I think it's very important in the grand scheme of what it is that I'm personally an advocate of. You know, I'm a libertarian, right? Anarcho-capitalist, to be specific, so people would consider me more the extreme end of libertarianism. Nonetheless, I look at elections as it's not the simple, okay, all politicians bad, all of them the same, and all of this. Like, that's not necessarily the end all with me. But I've analyzed elections certainly in recent years, and I look at the massive amounts of money and resources. So when I say that, I'm meaning like time. You look at the most precious resource, period, is going to be in people's time, right? You can't, that's the most precious of the resources, the most scarce of the resources. But nonetheless, you waste a lot of time with this show. So paying attention to the show and putting all your stake in these politicians, and you want them to basically, what it boils down to is use the government to force people that otherwise would disagree with you to do what it is that you want them to do. That's really what this ultimately boils down to. Rarely do people run on the idea of, okay, I don't want to run your life, right? Ron Paul may have been the last one. Nonetheless, when you look at the millions upon millions of dollars being spent, and this is why I don't take these sort of leftists serious, when they talk about and want to like steal from more rich people, steal from rich people more through taxation, or steal from everybody more via taxation to fund things like the quote unquote free healthcare, Medicare, free education, free everything. That's really all the Democratic nomination is a bunch of people trying to outspend other people's money, right? That's all it is. They're getting in contest to try to see who can do it the best. Is essentially what it's not even their money, and they gambling y'all's money away and using it as this sort of bargaining chip to buy your vote, essentially. So they buy your vote, and then they say, hey, we're going to use this money when I get in office to do this, and that, take care of this, and that. And I don't want to use this video to sort of demolish. I got plenty of videos out like this. It's just, this is the point. But I don't want to just sit up here and demolish what it is that they look at in terms of dissecting every single thing that they're an advocate of. But more so when you look at the massive amounts of money that is being spent. Imagine, and I want to put this on your mind if you don't take anything else from this video, I'm being dead serious right now. Think about the massive amounts of millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. Certainly when it comes to those years like like let's say the year in 2016 where Obama had his 8 years played out. So you had people of both parties going through this nomination process. And you think upon the millions upon millions upon millions of wasted money that go into these campaigns that don't go in the jack, right? It's an end game that consists of absolutely nothing. And not quite often, the vast majority of the people that are running don't win, right? So you wasted, you can inevitably say that you wasted, the money's wasted. And you can talk about, well, they get to talk to all of these people, it's wasted money. But more so, and this is going back to my point on why I don't feel as if they should be taken serious, if these guys, be it their donors, actually spent and used those resources, be it in their time or in their money, because some of these guys are volunteers and some of these guys aren't. Some of these guys just giving away money to their campaign. If they put that money towards things, they would be bringing about a world that they personally envision without having to force everybody else to contribute. And this is why I think politics and these election cycles are so rotten, because we don't even, and by we, y'all, don't even think about that concept and just accept it as what's supposed to happen because it's an election cycle. But you look at the millions upon millions, and when you include them all, billions of dollars, the billionaires and the millionaires, and I know Bernie would say that, the top 1% of the 1%. But you look at the money that he's getting, or the money that these other Democrats are getting, or even on the opposite side of the Republicans. If people was using that money to, let's say, give money to, let's say, people that are in quote unquote need, that they feel like need the money, you could do that. And that would be you'd be being more productive towards working and bettering, I guess, society as you see fit, than you would sitting over here wasting that money on somebody else's campaign. And this is why I hate politics. This brings out the worst of people. It's leeching. It's literal leeching in more ways than one, not just in the politics of being a government official, but in the election cycle. That's millions upon millions. Or again, the billions and billions and billions, like so much money, y'all, that's wasted throughout these campaigns that you guys could be using and giving those towards the people that, or giving it to the people that you feel like need it, right? All of those, so-and-so can't pay for this, single mothers, you could give your money to them. Millions of dollars, y'all could have been giving that to those people in need instead of trying to force everybody to contribute in this generic sort of one size fits all, where your money goes to people that you don't even know, right? Whereas you could advocate that people keep the money, they could put the money towards whatever it is that they want. But if you are so noble, right, and you care so much, instead of wasting the money on people's campaigns and these crooks, could have been giving that money towards the people in need. You could have made this idea of people having health care, that you could have made that come to life in a more privatized way. But instead, here you fools are wasting millions of dollars on crooks that ain't even gonna win.